Salut mes amis! So this week we are going to continue on with lesson 3A.1. When we were doing our lesson 3A.1, there were a few things I noticed this past week. I did email individual students with some of the misconceptions when they saw them struggling, but I just want to make sure I had this available to all of you. So when we're looking at our descriptive adjectives, we've used adjectives in the past. We used them before for talking about nationalities. We used them before for talking about our classes that we were taking. And now here we're going to actually really dive into using descriptive adjectives in French. And you've had kind of the easier part up till now, and now this is where the kind of the meat of what we've been doing is going to start to take hold. So we're going to actually spend a whole nother week on this. This is a lesson that I usually do for 2 weeks anyway, even when we are in school. So if you have questions, please ask. Make sure you're doing your very best on the assignments on VHL. Some of you are submitting them, even though I can tell you're struggling and you weren't asking questions. And so I'll see like a 0% or a 20%. I am sending those back to you, asking for you to retry them. So really do try your very best. You can do it multiple times. Email me, text me if you have questions on it. But we need to figure this out. So descriptive adjectives. There's two things that adjectives need to agree with. The first is they need to agree in gender, whether it's masculine or feminine, with what they are modifying or describing. The noun, it can be the subject, but it doesn't have to be. And I did see that that's where some of you were having some trouble. So here, my noun that I'm describing is the subject. It's Pierre, Pierre est grand. Okay, so Pierre is he, it's masculine. So grand will be masculine. So the original adjectives they gave you were already in the masculine form. You don't need to do anything different to change them into masculine. Sometimes, though, what we are describing is not your subject. So in this case, we have Pierre a une grande maison. Okay, Pierre has a big house. So we are going to be having grand is actually modified. We're modifying maison, the en maison. So this is masculine, okay? So grand is going to stay masculine, okay? Because we are actually talking about maison, it has nothing to do with Pierre. If we wanted to say Sophie has a big house, even if it's Sophie and Sophie is a girl, we're actually talking about her house. So the word grand will stay masculine because we're talking and modifying about the house, not about the person that was our subject here. Same thing down here with Nicole. Nicole est courte. So Nicole est courte. Nicole is a girl. She is, right? So she. So we are going to say this is going to be féminin. So to make it féminin, just like with most of our nationalities, we just typically add an E on the end of it when we are making it féminin. In this case, now here we are talking not about Nicole anymore. We're talking about her brother. We're saying Nicole has a short brother. Okay, so here, brother en frère is masculin. So now corps is describing the frère, is describing the brother. So we're going to make that masculin. Okay, so it will not have the E. It doesn't matter that we have the name Nicole here. That's a girl's name. We are talking about this noun here. This is frère. This is what is modifying, not Nicole anymore. The other thing the adjectives need to agree on is in number. So whether they're singular or plural. And typically in French, just like in English, most of the time, you're just going to add an S to the end of it when it's plural. There are exceptions, just like when we had learned before with some exceptions earlier in the year, like animal is animal, right? You put an X on the end. So there are some exceptions, but typically, most of the time you will put an S on the end. So elle est blonde et petite. We're talking about that she is blonde and short. So talking about she, this is what we're modifying. So it's one person, it's she. So it's going to be singular and it's going to be féminin. So we're going to keep the E, it's singular. You don't need to worry about putting any S. It's perfect the way it is. Petite, same thing. Petite is also describing she. So it's going to stay féminin. And again, it's singular. So no S. Here, it's a little different. Alice a les cheveux noirs. So Alice has black hair. when we have Alice as our subject, we are not talking about her at this point anymore. We're not describing her necessarily. We're actually describing her hair. So this one gets a little tricky because in a way, when you are describing her hair, you kind of are describing her. But the color black, noir, we're talking about the hair. So it's going to be plural. Okay. And not only is it plural, but cheveux is masculin. So we are going to make sure that noir is going to stay masculine. Don't put an E on the end of it. And it's going to become plural then. So it's because the cheveux is singular. I'm sorry, it is plural and is masculin. That is why we're going to put just the S here. There is a whole list of irregular adjectives in this section. So as you're looking through the online book, as you're watching the grammar tutorial, I really hope that you are not just watching, but you are actively watching and taking notes as you watch. It's going to be really important that you do take notes on this. It'll help you as you're doing your activities later on. So most of the students that I had talked to, the first time they did it, they were just listening and watching, which is a good way to start. You can preview it that way, but then get a piece of paper out, take some notes, have those notes handy while you're doing your activities, and it's going to help you so much more. Okay, there's a reason we take notes in class. It's to organize your information. And when you organize your information, you do learn it a little bit better. The other question I kept getting was about the placement of these adjectives. So the adjectives are going to be placed after the noun or the pronoun that they describe most of the time. That is typically where we put adjectives in French. Okay, it's different than in English. We typically, most of the time, put them after the noun or the pronoun that they modify or describe. There are some exceptions, and this is where it kind of extends from what we had learned in the past about adjectives. So there are going to be exceptions. There are some that are going to come before the noun or pronoun that they modify. So the ones that we have in this section that will come before is beau, bon, grand, gros, jeune, joli, long, nouveau, petit, vieux, mauvais, pauvre, and vrai. So these are ones that will come before. And the easiest trick I have for remembering these is we call them part of bags, okay? So think of a bag sitting on your table. If it fits in the bag, it's going to come before the noun that it modifies. So some that come before, we have beauty. So anything beauty. So like here we have beautiful, pretty, right? Those are all beauty. Age, okay, that's the A for bags. Age, we have old, okay, we have young, okay, talking about how old someone is. Goodness, okay, those simple words like good, right? Bad, right? Okay, size, that one's a pretty easy one, right? Small, big, okay? And these other ones kind of, you can figure out a way for them to kind of fit into this bags formula as well. Again, it's not a perfect solution, but it is one of the tricks that I remember learning when I was in French class the first time I learned it. And it's one of those things that kind of, it stuck in my mind, stuck in my brain, and helped me throughout my French writing. So it's not going to be a perfect solution, but it is one trick, one tool that you can use to remember which ones are going to come before what they modify. Okay, remember, most of the time they come after. There's only these exceptions, these ones that we call bags. If you want to just memorize the list, that's another way to do it too. I like to have a little trick for myself besides just memorizing lists. So here are some examples. We have nous avons un grand examen. Okay, so we have a big test, a big exam. Okay, this is talking about size, right? So we are talking about the size of the test. Un examen is masculine, right? So the masculine form, it's one of them, so it's singular. J'ai bonne note. Okay, I have good grades, right? So grades, all right. So grades is going to be féminin. Okay, it's la note. We learned that earlier in the year, and it's going to be plural. So bon is actually one of those irregular adjectives. So when we look at that, you're going to make sure you have the irregular form for féminin, for bon, and then you have the S because note is plural, grades. And then last I put parle en whoa, that should not say that. That should say parle est vieux copain. Little mess up there, but it should say parle vieux copain. I'll change that when I attach it to our lesson, so it should say est there. But again, okay, we're talking about the friend. It is masculine, so it's vieux. Okay, keep it the masculine form, and we're all good to go with that. Again, if you have questions, please ask. Please don't just go through the assignments, click on things, and say you're done. Okay, I want to make sure you are still learning. I want to be able to help you the best that I can from where you are at and from where I am at. So please make sure you are trying your best. You're allowed to do those assignments more than once. I have it set up so that if you go through it once and you're really struggling with it, you can go back through it. So if you do see that you get a 20%, a 40%, go back through it. Okay, we learn from our mistakes. And if you're not sure what your mistakes are, please make sure you email me or you message me in Classroom, or you go ahead and reach out through Remind. Either way. All right, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.